Timing belt time. Alright, so I apologize ahead of time for the sound of the charger. The battery in this car is not the strongest. It holds enough of a charge that it'll start if you run it every day or so, but whatever. Anyway, we're doing a time belt. We're going to be using the Gates kit. I've been warned. Oh, poor little spider guy being chased off. My bad, buddy. You just gonna leave? Bye. Anyway, I've been warned by a friend to be careful with this belt, but I decided to order the Gates racing belt. I don't know. I thought the blue belt would be cool. You know, racing's in the name. It was $20 more than the standard Gates, so I was like, let's go with that. So I got the kit. So of course I've got a water pump with a metal impeller, new O-ring. I've got this here new tensioner. Oh, something itches. And then somewhere in there I have the other tensioner because it fell out of the box. But I do like these kits because they come with the sticker for you to be able to put it on the strut tower or under the hood or something like that. It says, you know, what date, mileage, etc., the timing belt was done. So that'll be cool if I ever sell this car, which, you know, I never keep anything for very long except for disappointment. So I may or may not wind up selling this car one day. I don't know. Anyway, burn pot. Oh, it sounds like somebody's here. Oh, it's Amanda. She brought me Red Bull. Look at her being a damn treat. Come in here because your oil's low. Not for the Red Bull. No, I'm recording. So I turned around and was like, who's that pulling up in the driveway? So I walked up for a second, saw you cut across the yard, and I was like, look at her back with Red Bull. Love you. Two. Okay, anyway, she did indeed bring me Red Bull. Thank you, baby. Now we can really start. Delicious. Alright. So, like I was saying, disappointment's really the only car I have intentions on keeping forever. I've always wanted one of these Passats. It's a really rare Passat, so it may be something that I hang on to for as long as I can. I have 3 complete 180 engines laying around. This is a manual transmission car, so it's mechanical as mechanical can be, so as long as I don't kill the transmission and I keep up the maintenance and fluids and all that good stuff, this thing should last a real good long time. Like, the transmission theoretically shouldn't have a reason to fail other than synchronizers and stuff like that. But the transmission shifts beautifully. It drives amazingly now that a few things are fixed on the car, and it can drive the way it's supposed to. Anyway, I don't know how long I'll keep this car, but being able to tell the next owner that there's a racing belt in it, just points. It's brownie points, because I can pop the little timing cover off and be like, oh look, it's blue. Like look up the belt. Look at what blue means. Anyway, we're gonna do a time belt today, and this is gonna be very similar to the part 1 video or part 2 video of Tristan's job on his Passat, but I don't think I've posted that yet. I need to look and check and see, but either way, either I have or haven't, but it's going to look very similar to the beginning of that because I'm starting with my car complete. I'm going to show you from the beginning what it takes to pull this car apart and get it down to a point where you can get to the timing belt really easily. Now, Mark IVs introduced a thing called service mode, or position, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was a stupid term until I actually realized that they genuinely mean the whole front clip with just a handful of nuts and bolts. Well, I don't even think there's any nuts anymore. On the Mark IVs, there's like one 13mm nut that's on the passenger side typically, or the right side of the car, up here on the front, around where the bumper is and all the connection to the frame rail, but the Passats don't have that. So this time you're not going to run into that. I'm just kind of shuffling some stuff a little further out of the way, because what's going to happen is the air conditioning lines come in on this side, so when you disconnect everything on this front and it comes off, number one, you don't want to let it fall if the car is real high off the ground. If the car is sitting on the ground, you can actually just kind of rest everything on the ground and it'll touch down and reach. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, if I have to, probably go ahead and remove the power steering loop from the front end so that I can take it out and then swing accordion style the whole front end open and just get everything out in the open. And then that will completely expose the entire front side of the motor. It'll give me access to the crank, to the midpoint, the upper point. It'll give me all access to the serpentine belts. It literally wide open front end on this car. It's beautiful. But like I said, I gotta make some noise first and kind of straighten up a little bit, which I suppose I probably should have straightened up before I decided to start recording, but you know me. If you know me, then you know me. I don't plan anything. I try not to do very many edits. I'll do cuts, because cuts are easy. Adding together, subtracting a little bit of stuff, that's not that hard. But like actual editing, trying to make it look good, no, I'm not about that. So for a little bit of continuity's sake, and the fact that this video is going to end up being on the longer side, I'm really sorry to say. I know everybody loves my long videos. I don't want to put any of this stuff too terribly far away just because the car's right here. I'm just going to roll all this stuff over so that it is somewhat out of the way so that we can come in and out of the barn real nice and easy. I don't know if you could even see the tire pile. Yeah, you maybe could have seen the tire pile. Anyway, so what you're going to start with, we'll go ahead and bring you out here. Go ahead and show you the deal. So we're going to start with the bumper first. So firstly, there's that little Torx there. There's supposed to be one there. There's one there. And then looking up inside of the bumper, there's one right there as well, if you can see it. Yep, right there. So typically you're going to take those four out, and then that's going to remove the bumper from the inner fender liner, and it's going to go ahead and remove that top bolt from the fender so that this will effectively be loose. Now, if your car is intact, mine is not, you'd have a bolt there and a bolt matching on the other side just like that. And then of course the passenger side is rinse and repeat. Essentially you pull the bumper cover off. You're also going to have to remove the grill first, which means you're going to have to remove this doodad, and you look down inside of there, you're going to want to flip that little 90-degree L-shaped clip up, and then down inside of there, let's see if I can push you see that gap in the handle? You're going to want to stick a little screwdriver down in that gap and twist it and spread it open so that you can pull that out the front. And then the grill, there's a little tab right here. You're going to pull this tab and the grill will pop forward from the top. The two upper parts, they'll just kind of roll forward, and then you just kind of wiggle it up and out. I believe we're looking for a T25. That's T30. 27. 40. If your sockets are a mess like mine, go ahead and, when you come across it, grab the 45 and hang on to that one. .30 as well, just in case. I wonder where my 25 is. Oh, that's a 50. See, this is why it pays to be prepared, kids, because then you don't get on the internet and look like a dumb shit. Thankfully, I don't care about looking like a dumb shit. What is this? 15. What is a damn shame? 27. And then the 15. And this right here is why it's important to, oh, there we go. There's the 25. Now, I have a 3/8 version, and that was the one I was originally looking for, but I actually am okay with the 1/4 inch version, because that allows me to use my favorite little speed ratchet. Alright, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna see if I can set you guys. I don't know how much I like that. Yeah, I suppose that's okay. Alright, so first things first, get you some magnetic trays. That way, as you take all this stuff out, you can kind of line it up from one side of the tray to the other. Now, I could be using power tools and stuff, but other than a slightly long intro, I really wanted to do this in real time so that it can be shown how quickly. I mean, it takes a couple of hours, and I'm pretty sure I'll cut some of the time out, and I'll at least say something somewhere. Alright, that's loose. The inner fender liner is also loose, because I can now manipulate it and move it around. This would be a good time to pull the inner fender liner and do some inspections. I'm not too worried about those inspections. Alright, take this one, set it down, go ahead and put my little brake cap back on it. Yep, just like that. Okay, let you see this one this time. Oh look, that third bolt's there. So get in there, just... Oh, that one's a little stubborn. One. Yeah, see, that's how easy it's supposed to be. Two. Get in there, laddie. Well, my excellent camera skills at work. 3. Come on, buddy. Bam. And then up in there. 4. Now, I like using these wobble extensions because they don't, unlike a swivel, there's still like some directability to this. I can still, you know, index the end pretty well. Yep, that's number 4. Okay, so I'm gonna set you back over here on the toolbox because now I'm gonna go ahead and pull the bumper. Now, you're not gonna see this up close because I can't really show it because I'm here by myself at the moment and don't have an extra hand, but I am going to go ahead and do the grill. I'm going to do the grill and go ahead and spread the spread the handle open, and unfortunately, without having someone to hold the camera for me, I am not going to be able to do that. What I can recommend, use a flathead with a big fat end when you do it, so that you can get leverage the first time easily. Is that going to look good? Yeah, it's going to look okay. Alright, so I'm at least going to stand to the side of it, but basically reach down in here, flip the little keeper clip up. Usually you can kind of just reach down in there with a pinky once you've popped it, and it'll just kind of lift up and out of the way. Yeah, just like that. Alright, now stick your screwdriver in and twist, and as you twist, look down inside of there and you'll break it just like I did. Okay. Alright, get your grill out of the way. I'm not terribly worried about that clip. I have others, I'm sure, and if I don't, I'll find one. This broke on me, don't really care. Not too terribly worried about that. But basically, that's where that little pull tab goes. And then down in there, you're twisting and opening that thing to get it worked off of that. And then you have to spread it in reverse order to get it back. But now that we're here to get the bumper that much further off, we're going to want to take these off. And these are the 30s that I took and set to the side. Yep, see, 30. All right. Now this one I'll use a power tool for because they're going to be a bit rusty. And they're prone to breaking, and I'm not real sure why, but there's something about the impact gun. It hits it in just the right way where it doesn't break. I don't intend on this car being that fast, but it does have 170 horse, which is fast enough technically to get to 100 miles an hour, and so if I ever get going that fast, I don't want parts of my bumper not bolted on. Oh, that was beautiful. Now remember, you've got your two different trays. Set them back up. Keep all your bumper bolts on one side so that they stay together. Haven't had a couple of hits behind it. Oh, beautiful. So that, yeah, like I said, this thing's just great. Something about the impact, just it knocks them right on out. So that should be, if I'm not mistaken, everything that's holding the bumper on as far as fasteners go. There should have been a couple of fasteners up here holding through the grill, but they're not there, weren't there. But now we should be able to pull the bumper cover off. Now, here's where you got to be careful because there's marker lights on either side, and then there's fog lights on both sides at the bottom. So when you do this, you got to pull it forward a little bit and hold on to it. Don't let it fall or drop because you don't want to rip any wires. You don't want to snatch any bulbs out. But essentially, you're going to pull the entire socket out of the marker lights just because that's how they work, and then you're going to unplug the fog lights, and it's all going to stay on the bumper, and then everything that you see, plastic right here, license plate, all that's going to come off, and we're going to set it out of the way. So you see it just slid right off. Now I'm loose. I can reach in and I can pluck these little marker lights out. Come over here to this side, same thing, pluck out the marker light. Looks like my bulbs, for some reason, decided they wanted to stay. If you need to, kind of get back on here and use your hip. But you don't want to break any of this stuff, because it's hard to get a hold of nowadays. And when you do get a hold of it, people want lots of money for it. Or it's like cheap China garbage and nobody wants that, but bumper's off now. So that's going to sit over there out of the way, as you can see. Here's the marker light plug, there's the fog light plug, there's the marker light plug. fog light plug, there's the marker light plug. Next, we're going to go ahead and pull the metal bumper off. This right here. You can leave this connected as one unit, kind of, because once you pull the bolts out, it does pull the bolts out, but it'll stay if you want it to. You can fight it, but I don't want to because I don't want that much extra weight pulling down on it. This is where that T45 that I set to the side comes in. And I set it to the side and then hid it from myself. So of course I'm not ready to just smoothly walk right back out there. Did I take it out there with me? Was that a thing? Is this what it is in my pocket? Because I was like, yeah, let me not forget that. Yes it is, T45 in my pocket. Now I don't know that you're going to get all these. Actually, nope, you're not going to get any of them with the gun. Not going to get any of them with the gun. So, grab you an extendo ratchet, which I have a Pittsburgh one here that I really like to use from time to time. It's not the greatest ratchet in the world, but it has that extending handle on it with the comfort grip stuff. I already have it out. Yeah, this thing. If you work within this tool's capabilities, it will absolutely do every job you need it to do. But if you try to do things it's not meant to do, you will break it. So bear that in mind. Anyway, so there are supposed to be a total of 4 of these T45 Torx down here. 3 directly hold the bumper on. 1 holds on the core support to the frame rail. We are going to take the 3 loose. Matter of fact, you know what? I'll bring you over here and show you so that I can... Yeah, we're still recording too. Look at that. Right there. You see all 4 of those? And then you see how that bracket just doesn't have it on that corner right there? So that corner one is what's going to hold the core on as we snake the bumper itself out. And this would be a good time to like inspect the bumper, find out if it needs any repairs, find out if the brackets or these shock absorber deals that they use to deflect some of the incoming impact, find out if any of those have any issues. It's a good time to inspect wires and other things. Of course, this all is going to be the longest part of it because I'm doing this with hand tools. It's gonna take forever for me to get these fasteners out. And I like I said, I kind of want to do that on purpose like that, so that my title can be real-time timing belt job. And I'll see what I can do to see if I can find somebody who's interested in maybe taking my raw footage and cutting it down for me into a short version. But essentially, my whole goal behind doing this on the long way is so that you can see from start to finish how long this takes. And if you just kind of buckle down and start, removing nuts and bolts, you'll eventually get exactly what you need done, and you'll be all the happier with yourself for having done it yourself. There's a lot of satisfaction that comes with DIY stuff, and even if it's something as simple as an oil change, not having to go pay somebody to do your oil change, man, that's a fantastic feeling. Like, yeah, I've done a bazillion oil changes in my life, so I personally can't stand doing oil changes now. Just because it's maintenance. maintenance, and it's like mundane for me. But at the same time, there are lots of times where I do appreciate that the only thing my car needs is an oil change at that time, Doesn't happen often in the enthusiast world. We're always driving our cars hard. We're always being rough, so we're always breaking stuff. Alright, that's the 3rd bumper bolt. This little rubber piece, just try not to hurt that if yours is a 1/8T. I don't know that the V6 cares. I don't remember seeing it on my wife's car, but on the 1/8T, that is an air dam to go across the intercooler, because these have side mount intercoolers on the driver's side or left side, depending on what country you're in. But yeah, essentially that little rubber air dam funnels the air that comes in around the fog light, and it directs it across the intercooler, which is actually kind of awesome when you think about it, because a lot of times people try to upgrade the front mount intercoolers and stuff, and I'll say that this thing's got the room for it. There's a substantial amount of room between the AC and the front bumper bar. So one could be snaked in here. Like, there's definitely room for the A6 or the A4 one to go in here, or whatever it is. I've been told so many different things and read so much different stuff on the internet about this car. Some people say it's an A6, some people say it's a 4, some people say it's unique. I don't know. Okay, so now we have some snack. I'm going to finish taking this out by hand so that I know where the bumper is when I let it go. Of course, it's always so hard to get a good angle on fasteners. You got to get your body into such weird shapes, spaces. Oh, looks like the flies are going to start coming out. Alright, so this side was missing one, but now I should be able to just very easily, casually, just kind of maneuver that out like that. I'm going to sit this down for a second because I lost the little plastic cap that goes on the end. But yeah, basically those are your, that's your bumper bar and your bumper bar supports. Now, like I said, you can technically take out all 4 of those bolts and do a bunch of weird stuff to get there, but I'm not trying to do all that. I believe I'm also leaving this connected too, but this is the power steering thing I was talking about, and you can see they already put a zip tie to that, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Because basically that'll ensure that I can take all that loose. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you all this air dam. Yeah, still recording. Good deal. Alright, so here's the air dam as a whole. You see the horn goes through it. But basically, you just kind of boop. And then that kind of, there's some, let me get down here so I can show you. There's like these weird snap fasteners that you gotta like, get that up out of the way. You're supposed to like pry those. I'm not gonna be able to do it one-handed, but essentially, it's pretty straightforward. Alright. But this is the mounting for that. So we're gonna cut that and see what happens, because it looks like it's not connected anymore. Also gonna go ahead and pop that out and let it dangle. Good look. Absolutely broken. Looks like something back here is still holding. Yep, that 10 mil that's behind it. 10 mil still holding strong for the other mount. So we're gonna. That's a one. Okay. We have a 10 millimeter. There's my little gunny gun. Bust this 10 mil off. Oh, that one had some rust on it. Yes, sir. You see how that dangles now? That is completely loose from the front end. So, up top, I believe the up top was a 30. Is indeed a 30. Now, this side's broken on mine, so I'm not going to pull that out. But you take this loose. get that up there with the bumper bolts. Oh, that's right, I forgot about these. So I think the easiest way that I'm gonna do this next bit is I'm gonna take the actual latch itself loose from the front clip, I believe, maybe. I forget what I did on the other one, but this here like plastic bracing that can come off if you want. I'm gonna leave it on so that if it falls over, there's still something there holding on to the condenser and somewhat protecting it. So I forget what this was, but we're gonna take it loose because it doesn't look like it touches the core. Now these ones are usually incredibly rusty because they face upward, and all of the incoming road water from rain and the spray off of vehicles on wet roads in front of you gets up in here and it just sits on top of it. And so the head looks real nasty, but once you get it out and look into it, it's really not that bad. The threads will be pretty clean. The threading inside insert will be fairly clean. It's just the fastener itself on the head. Yep. That one over there. This might not even have anything to do with the latch. I'm just taking it off to take it off at this rate. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with the latch. It's just a piece of plastic or whatever. It's probably something to brace in so that the hood doesn't slam down too hard and hit the grill or whatever. So I think we're going to go ahead and pull those 45s loose. We're going to move the grill off of this here table. Take this basket and just set it on the ground. Take this jar of brake fluid, set it down there. And we're going to have that ready just in case. You're also going to want to disconnect your headlights at some point in this process, which I'm probably going to go ahead and do that right now. I didn't take the air dam out though. Take the air dam out. I don't know if I'll put the air dam back in. I don't have the factory air box in here anymore, so other than it just kind of guiding air over towards the open-ended filter, I don't really know how much I care about it. The real advantage is if I take this thing out, the exhaust, the turbo is right here. So if I take and put a little flap under here pointing down at the turbo, kind of pushing air down towards the underside of the car, I could finagle that in a positive way. But now that that upper part of the air dam's out, you can really easily reach your headlights and unplug those. I think the headlights are really the only things that get unplugged on this. Obviously the hood pop cable is going to be a problem, and the air conditioning is going to stay attached. Once I pull this front clip off, you're going to notice that there's going to be a boost pipe on the bottom that stays as well. You're not going to, I don't think we'll need to pull that in order to do the timing belt. Hopefully this thing doesn't do anything stupid and fall. Long threads. Bam. mistaken, I do remove the latch from the front clip assembly. I do not pull the cable from it. I thought in Tristan's video that I pull the cable, but I don't pull the cable. I don't know if you guys saw it sag when I loosened it. There's a snub nose mount down at the bottom that this should technically sit on for a few before I end up running into it, not holding on anymore. Come on, guy. Alright, that sucked. There are wires and stuff that go different places with this, so when you pull it forward, you're going to see some connections and stuff that need to be disconnected. Try to keep all your tools somewhat organized and out of the way. Popping the power steering reservoir cover up and out of the way because there's some connections underneath of it that you can really quickly get to and just unplug and be done. Set that over on the table where maybe some rain later will get to it and wash it off for me. Go ahead and unplug all these plugs. If you're working on this car, then you already know how much of a absolute pain in the ass it is to take apart these plugs and stuff. My best recommendation is to push the plugs together as if you're trying to plug it in, and then function the little clasp to pop the latch up. Because if you have any rearward movement, tension or tightness to it, the latch won't lift. And I, of course, need the little itty bitty hook. Hooks are valuable. Get yourself a set of hooks. You thank yourself later. Essentially, with a hook, you can get right underneath of the tab and you can just go right in between them, and then they pop right loose. Nice. It's also something we're going to do when I go back together is I've got I've got smoked out headlights that I want to put in it, so I got to figure out what the deal with the bulb situation is. So once we get down to the timing belt and we're at the meat of the job and I do the actual timing belt, I'll probably call that the end of the video, just so that I can take some time to do some stuff that I want to do to the car before it gets put back together. I'm not in a terrible rush for it to be on the road, other than the fact that it's registered and costing me money to not be able to drive it right now. I'm not really pressed. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I work on cars. I work on the yard. I do stuff for people. That's really it. So I don't really need the car right at this moment so desperately, but I am going to want to get it on the road sooner than later so that all my money of it being on the road isn't just an absolute waste. Things are so long-winded. We're almost there, I promise. Alright, so, I think I've got all the electrical connections taken care of. Pop up this here AC pressure switch one just in case it doesn't have enough slack to get where we need to get it. Let's see if I can set you guys up in a little bit of a different place so you can see it come away from the front of the car. What kind of percentage are we looking at? We're on 64%. We're just going to turn this off for now. I'll do that. Okay, let's see if we can. Yeah. You know, one of these days I might act like I want to take this stuff kind of seriously, and I might start preparing better, because this ain't it. Let's try the other side of the car. Okay. It's not going to be good enough. What else are we held on by? Oh yeah, there's some 30s on the side. Alright, where's my gun? They're taking too long. I'm not going to start busting these things out. Alright, well she's starting to come down now with these two on the sides. Now, this isn't going to be the heaviest thing you've ever picked up, but it's not going to be light. So, give yourself some space. Get in here with this gun. Get it in the hood latch. Pull that. Pull that one. Alright, so that should loosen up. Okay, well, since we are unlucky, go ahead and pull the little... Actually, you don't need to do that, I don't think, but we're gonna anyway. Now that the front side's open, I'm just gonna pop the little cable out. I know I said I wasn't gonna do that, but I'm doing it. There that was. Alright, now that the cable's loose, put your two bolts somewhere. I mean, really, you could put them back in to hold it on, but I'm looking. I'm pretty sure our steering line is off. This plug's undone. Oh, that's right, the damn radiator. The damn radiator. Okay, folks, so I forgot the radiator. So I gotta drain that now. So this is gonna be my first cut. Drain the radiator. But as you can see, we got lots of gap. It's gonna be my first cut, which it's not really gonna be a cut. I'm gonna come back to the same thing, but since the angle on the other side probably sucks so bad, I'm gonna put you back on the toolbox to watch me the good old way, since, you know, that seems to be what always works. But I'll be back once I've sorted out this radiator situation. Okay, we're ready to drain the radiator. So take your little hook, get down in here, be careful as you're doing this because the front end is dangling. Pop your little hose clamp radiator snap ring thingy loose. I like taking it off completely just because I think it's stupid. Why they did it this way is beyond me. But I pop them all the way off so that they're just not in the way, can't pop back into position, can't do nothing, they're just not there. A little bit of a pain sometimes. Keep that. Don't break it either. Now you just reach down here and work the lower radiator hose off of the radiator. Now it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. You're just going to have to fight it. Like there's not really a good way to get down here on it. The plastic that this stuff's made of is brittle as hell and will absolutely break on you. But I want to get the lower one loose first so that I can drain most of the fluid out, so that when I take the upper one loose, it's not a mess. I don't even know that I'm going to be able to get it off because it hasn't budged. I think it's moving. It's just moving slow. Jesus. That son of a bitch ain't moving at all. Dang. Alright, well. Yeah. Cut again. So y'all know that that air dam that for the side mount. Yeah, so it blocked a little drain on the front of the radiator, so I am currently draining the radiator through that little port, which is working beautifully right there, making no mess. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm gonna let it drain for a while, dribble, 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 and then keep on trucking, try to get that hose off, and when we're ready to do timing, I'll probably start the video up, so I'll see you in just a second. Okay, so now we're at the new angle. We're gonna go ahead and pull the belts off real fast, just to make this super easy. It's a 6mm Allen. I should have been a bit more prepared, but what are you gonna do? Brought a couple other really popular sizes just in case as well. But the 6 is one I'm pretty sure we're gonna need. Bam, look at that, right on in there, just like it was meant to be. So we're gonna hit this loose with the impact. Be careful using an impact on these. Not so much for... Oh Lord, where's my pick? I tried to pressure wash the front end down so that we could have a relatively clean area to work with, and nope. Nope. Can't have it. Go ahead and clean all the schmoo out of there. It was stopping the socket from going in there. What I was trying to say was be very careful using an impact on these here Allens. You want to make sure that you get the socket all the way in there so that you don't strip it like it just tried to do. Okay. Alright, so that should be that loose. So we can pop that belt off. Which, it's hilarious that it doesn't give us more room than that. Alrighty, well it looks like we're coming all the way out. Yep, that way we just whoop, whoop. Alright, that's not serpentine belt, but AC belt off. We're just gonna gently put that back so that we don't lose it. Next one is the serpentine belt. I want to get you an adjustable. You can get a bigger adjustable than this if you want, but it really don't make that big a difference to me. You just stick it on this ear on the end, roll it over that way, and it'll do its due. And you just get this here off. Bam. And I'm going to look through my other belts and see if I have a better one than that. I really don't want to use that one. It just doesn't look that good. The next thing is we're going to pull that fan off so that we can completely open up the entire front of the engine. And I believe that was this here 6mm as well, although now it's bigger. That could be this here 8 that I grabbed. Yes, it was the 8. Alright, so this is going to spin, and I probably should have done something about that before it started spinning. You know what? I think I messed up. Should have kept the belt on. That's okay. And it's okay. Every single thing that can fight me is fighting me. It would seem that I got it. Apparently the length is not a need right now. And look at that. Now we can take those loose and we can try and see what's going on with this. Maybe throw some more grease in it or something, stiffen it back up. Alright, but with that, the front of the motor is completely 100% exposed except for the crank and the tensioner. The crank should be that 6 mil. We're going to take those loose with the ratchet though. We want to be very careful. I'm going to show you what we're doing with that. Also, grab a 13 while you're at it. Okay. So the 13 is going to be for these. We're gonna bust those off real fast. We're just going to use the gun. Over here out of the way, we'll probably grease that one as well. Now here's the thing. Like I said, with the other one, you want to be real careful with these 6mm Allens. That's why we're not going to be using the impact. What you want to do is you want to get it good and in there. Extend your ratchet back out. Well, I might end up having to use the impact on it. I just really don't want to. Usually these are good and tight, but they're not like ridiculous. We're going to give it a shot with the impact. We'll see what happens. Yep, ring it right off. I fucking knew it. Every time. Alright, so that's where we're going to need a 13 or a ½ inch. Preferably a 12 point. I'll be back. Okay. So, because I can't find a 1/2 inch 12 point, I decided to go get my 8mm triple square. Let's see what this does. Chewed it right to pieces too. Alright. Let's try this one. Sounded way more solid when it went in that time. Hey, hey! Look at that. Now you just got to work it back out. But it's out. And I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and do this with all of them. I ain't even trying to fight it. Not even trying to fight it. Look at that. Another one. Definitely a pain in the butt. This is something that I've had an issue with on every single Volkswagen Audi 4-cylinder ever. These front bolts rust. And it's the worst on these Passats because the fucking crank faces that direction. So all the incoming water and road grit and grime and all that nonsense it just gets in here, it stays and rusts. And once it starts rusting, it just doesn't stop rusting. So I'm likely going to try and find something else to put back in here. Hopefully I'll have some brand new, not brand new, but better than this shit condition fucking fasteners. Alright. As you saw, I'm 4 for 4 on the triple square, so if you run into an Allen that you can't get, it might be worth sacrificing a triple square. I don't know if you can see, but I didn't really have to sacrifice it. Alright, well, all 4 of them. This should just fall off. There's no like keyway or keeper or anything that holds on to this. It's just the bolt flange it only goes one way. There's a little dowel pin right there for ease of locating, but these bolt holes are very specifically drilled so that you can only put them on a couple of ways. You should be able to just walk this thing around a bunch. Bust up that rust layer. don't go beating on it too hard neither, because you don't. I'm pretty sure you won't have parts cars like I've got laying around just waiting for a mistake. So there we go. There's that. Where did 10 millimeter go? Because we'll go ahead and start knocking this timing cover off. Move all these tools off of the top. We got to pull that engine cover off. Okay. It is easier to pull these hoses, but I just fight. I don't care. I want that 10 mil now. Wherever I put it. Here. So there's 1, 2, 3. And this is your mid cutter. Okay. All right. And then the lower cover is 1, 2, and then it comes off. And now you are looking at the timing belt. So the best thing I'm going to recommend to you, I'm super serious about this because this is a 20 valve engine. If you're off on the timing at all, it'll bust and you'll destroy the head. But you're going to want to look at your belt. Go ahead and get familiar with what you're looking at. Now, as far as the crank goes, I don't have a Bentley. I have not looked it up online. I do not know what the timing mark is, but I believe the timing mark to be this little nub to that little gusset right there. I think that lines up there. But what I'm going to do to alleviate the question as to whether or not I have the right timing, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to grab 19 millimeter. It's got to be a 12.2, by the way. I'm going to grab a long ratchet. Make sure it's going righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And what we're going to do, we'll put this on the crank, just like this. And we're going to rotate it. Now we're going to come up here, and we're going to watch this. Now you see, somewhere on this cam is going to be an OT mark right here. See that little dash right there? It's hard to see, but right there. So that notch is going to come all the way up here to this notch. Okay, so now we look down here, and that's not lined up at all. So what does that mean? That means nothing to me, honestly. So basically, as of right now, this motor is still in time. I can start it, it'll run, and it'll run good. So right now, with me knowing that the camshaft is at least on its mark, I'm either on time or I'm 180 out. In this particular instance, I don't care either way. I'm not resetting to the factory marks on the block. I'm only resetting to the one on the head. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark on the bottom.
See, everybody will tell you line everything back up to top dead center, and that's how you do it. Yes, that is how you're supposed to do it. And that is what you do if the timing belt broke. However, my timing belt has not broken and the engine runs great. So I'm going to mark it at the crank and mark it at the cam, and I'm just going to go to those marks. I'm going to create my own marks. As long as the block does not move away from the head in this process and my made mark stays where it is, and then the factory mark stays where it is on the cam, everything will be fine. Everything will work. But unless you're very confident in what you're doing, I recommend follow the book, line up the marks. The mark for the crank, I believe, is on the back side of the engine, somewhere around the bell housing. So that's its own thing. But I'm gonna take a few minutes and stop here because I'm gonna clean up a few things, try to get a little bit more of this grease and stuff sorted out, and then I'll be back in just a flash to keep on trucking with some more stuff. All right, so it's the next day, and I've made my marks. I put 4 down here and then 4 on the top so that I know for a fact that this thing's not going to move. And I put these on the belt because, you know, these belts, the teeth are counted. They're very precise on how many teeth are on this belt. And so I'll know for sure if I transfer these marks from this belt. See, I put one there, and then I even marked the OT with the valve cover just in case. Doesn't matter as far as orientation, but that's what we're working with. And then I got a paint splotch there because I was trying to, but whatever, ignore that. But we are ready to pull. We're ready to pull the belt off now. So we're gonna see if I can sit you up here in some form or fashion. Maybe, probably not. Goofy. I actually am okay with that, even though it looks like crap. Where did I put my little pin navigator? There's my extension. I do not know. Excuse me, sir. Need to find out what I did with my 10mm. Okay, I get the different one, but fuck. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Alright, now that still had plenty of life in it actually, and that's kind of impressive. But anyway, that's loose. So we're going to switch out to the, oh, we need that nut back out of there. Alright, take that, take the washer, set them over here. Do not lose. Is it just you two? Yes, it is. Alright. Take your 2 bolts out. Dang it. Alright, that be our tensioner. Should be able to go ahead and like finagle this thing out of here in some way. Of course, it's going to be difficult. Okay, there we go. else is out? Alright, we're gonna go ahead and pop out the water pump too. Alright, it's just the 3 pins for the water pump, and then that should just kind of pop out. Oh no! That's not what I wanted. Stupid thermostat not letting all the water out. Yeah, we'll catch what we can. Which is not a lot. Plastic impeller, which is junk. I'm surprised that this thing didn't shatter at some point inside of there, but whatever. Like I said, I replaced or purchased the metal one. It's a little heavier, but worth it because it's more durable. It'll take high revs a little better too if you start revving it past a certain point. I'm actually kind of sad about that. Alright. Well, at this rate, you transfer your marks. I'm not terribly worried about transferring the marks. So, I'm going to go ahead and slide some stuff around. And oh yeah, listen to that. Yeah. She's done. That was ready. Really glad we decided to do something with that before we put all of it on one. Bam, look at that. Okay. You know what? I am going to go ahead and transfer the marks. Because I did it, I'm going to do it. So, I'll be back. Alright. So now we're going to go ahead and put this here water pump in. I don't use any kind of sealants or anything. Just give that a little top. Wipe all of our stuff off real quick. Which it did not work anyway, so whatever, it doesn't matter. Alright. Make sure you start all of these little 10 mils by hand before you do anything else. I also don't really recommend doing duggas on these. Like I know I did to take them out, but taking them out is a little different from putting them back in. I am definitely not gonna dugga them back in just because they're probably not gonna take the torque and they will break. So I'm gonna shorten up our little Pittsburgh. I basically like to try and do a little at a time on each one so that we walk it in so that we don't like create a weird pinch point on the O-ring. That way when it goes in it seals, you don't cause yourself a bunch of extra work by having to take this thing back apart again. I think it's like 13 inch-pounds or something like that for these, or whatever the small increment is. I just kind of, I've done this enough that I kind of have it in my head, my muscle memory, like what this is. So I'm not too worried about all that. Now we need our little 13 mil. Go ahead and put this back on there. Like I said earlier, I've done all my own timing marks and everything. You want to make sure that you get this on the right side. That's right. Over here. Excuse me. Thanks. Do not pull this pin. Don't pull that yet until you are absolutely ready, because you will have the time of your absolute life trying to get that back together. You see that falls right in there just like we need it to. Put that 10 mil back in. This 10 mil back in. Like I said, you definitely want to hand start all of these. Don't risk it. It's not worth it. This is why we try to hand start them, so that we can see what's going on before it happens. All this damn coolant. Yes, that is exactly what I needed. Oh goodness. Alright, I'm just gonna go get another bolt. Got another one. What in the world? Why? Alright, we're gonna push it a little bit with the ratchet and see what happens. Okay, it's just a hard spot. You could probably run these in with a gun if you wanted, I just don't. Alright, so at this rate, I'm going to grab my can of brake clean and spray this just a little bit. No, I'm not. I'm going to put the belt on first, and then I'm going to spray it, because if I spray it now, I'm probably going to knock my marks off. So, here's our belt. Try not to have excessively greasy hands or anything. A little dirt's fine, just no grease. We're going to take and put our transferred marks, and look at that, beautiful. It fits. Go over this tensioner, over that tensioner. We're gonna not be around the cam sensor. We don't want to put this all the way on like that quite yet, but what we want to do is we want to roll the water pump so that we pull the slack out of this run right here. When you're doing this, what we want is we want all of our slack on this belt on this back side, so that the tensioner is what absorbs the slack. If you don't do this in this step, in this way, the way I'm telling you to do it, you will mess up. this coolant. Should have thought about that. I should have pulled the thermostat earlier in the job. I don't know what we're listening to at this point. Come on, bugger. These things are always kind of a pain to get. We're here, so I'm going to bump this with my ratchet just a touch to see if I can roll it around and get it to come into place, because right now we're on all the right marks. It just doesn't seem to want to pop on. Still on here. Now we're going to back it up. And we're going to try and make sure that these are lined up. Okay. So that right there. Okay. I won't do that for right now, but we're gonna put a 6 mil in there and actually put some height on it. Just a little. Doesn't take much. And then we're gonna switch to the soap wrench. Wrong way. Wasn't the wrong way. Probably going to do something stupid right here, but whatever. Let's put the socket on it. Well, actually, tightener. Alright, so that's belt pretty tight. You want to be able to turn it 90 basically in place, and that's kind of your measure. And at this point, I could technically run it, but this back here, got to pull this pin just like that. And this is going to constantly push pressure on this so that as the belt stretches over time, it's going to absorb all that so that everything stays in time. At this point, I should probably start it. Well, not yet. I should probably roll the motor over a couple of times. See what happens. So basically, 2 rotations. Whoops. How are we still looking? We're still looking all right. 2 rotations of the bottom end is 1 total rotation of the cam. So we're going to spin this motor over twice, maybe 4 times, and essentially what we're going to look for is that this on top mark matches that on top mark, and then the 4 dots that I put along the bottom end are going to line up with them as well. And as long as those come back into line and everything's at the same point at the same time, I will attempt to start it with it disassembled so that we can look at the belt and see how it spins. So let's do that. That's 1. Hey, can you go like hit up or down on the volume button in there? Preferably down. And look at that. We're back on the on top. And then look, our block mark stayed. So we're in time. I guess we can start this bitch if we want. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. There we go. You gonna start my car for me, Mr. Andrew? Say hi to Andrew, everybody. He gonna start car for us. At least I think it'll start. Cam sensor's plugged in. All the intake is still up. Everything's still good. The only thing missing are the serpentine belts, so here's hoping. Yeah. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Spin that alternator. We're going to charge that air battery. Oh my goodness, yep. Heck yeah. First try. Well, alright, go ahead and kill it. Well, as you can see, that worked. So essentially, the rest of this job is just reverse order. Start putting things back together, start getting everything tightened back up, put your front end back on. But this has been how to do timing on a Passat 1.8 turbo B5 platform. I mean, I guess this works for the A4 B5. Well, really, this works for just about any Audi, but anyway, don't chance your timing if you don't have to. I'm confident in my abilities and what I do, so as you saw, everything worked out fine. But if you do something and something's not right, if you mess up and make too many sets of marks and they're off and you mix them up or something, you will destroy these engines. So be very, 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 very careful. But on that note, we're going to cut it. If you liked this, appreciate it. Actually hit that like button for me. If you want to see more, throw a comment. Tell me what you want to see. I'll try and do what I can here and there if I've got access to the jobs. And peace.